Yes, this is Bryan Holder. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? My name is Stacia, and I'm a reporter for the Iowa State Daily.
Yes, I apologize for missing your call. I just got back to my photography video studio, so I was up in Johnston at Public Television this morning. So.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for the call back.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the interview opportunity.
Yes. So I have a couple questions for you today.
Sure.
Some personal questions, and then we'll focus on some issues that we want your opinion on.
Oh, absolutely.
So to start with some of the personal questions, why are you running specifically?
Well, I ran for the first time 8 years ago, and by running, I discovered that the government, they stopped adding seats to the U.S. House back in 1929, so they fixed the size of the U.S. House at 435, and from what I've learned by running is that these districts have too many constituents in them. And especially in a state like Iowa, this new 4th district has 36 counties. So it's quite a monumental task to represent people in 36 different counties. So I advocate for dividing each congressional district into 3 smaller ones. The population of America has tripled since they stopped adding seats in 1929. I call this idea the Iowa Compromise. So.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, would it be okay if I record the interview?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So next question, what does your campaign stand for?
Well, my campaign is all about better representation through smaller constituencies. But beyond that, I advocate for policies that expand our freedoms and our liberties, policies that don't restrict our freedoms. So, you know, there's a whole laundry list of things going on in the world, but we've seen through the pandemic and now this proxy war in the Ukraine that most of us average citizens have little to no say in the policies that affect our daily lives.
Definitely. All right. What are some of the things that you hope to achieve in your prospective term besides the Iowa Compromise ideal?
Well, the biggest setback to ever winning a seat is that it requires millions of dollars, and in some states, tens of millions of dollars to win a seat in the U.S. House. So, you know, we're never going to have representative government if only the ultra-rich and the people that are connected to the donor class have the chance to win a seat in the U.S. House. So.
All right. And then now I'm going to focus in on some specific issues.
Sure.
So with a recent national increase in gun violence, how do you plan to address different gun issues in office?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that our representatives should make these decisions unilaterally on their own in the U.S. House. So they're supposed to consult with their constituents and find out what their legislative priorities are. And if you check with the people in the 4th district, it's a fairly conservative district, one of the most conservative districts in the country. And I know a lot of the Republicans, they don't want any further restrictions on the right to self-defense. But I know a lot of Democrats, they want further restrictions. So we need to have this conversation amongst our constituents and amongst our fellow citizens about what kind of controls should be implemented. I know in Iowa there's a constitutional amendment they're trying to get passed to our state constitution to make it extremely difficult to pass any gun control legislation. So, you know, but what other candidates have talked about, and I have too, is there's a serious need for mental health, care for the people that are going through these mental health emergencies. But there's also a need for people in positions of authority, the school systems, to try and help these kids. A lot of them, these young males that don't see any other option than to engage in acts of violence. So, there needs to be counselors in place in these schools to make sure that these these lost souls, these lost youth, have the support that they need, because otherwise they're a danger to all of us.
Definitely. So, would you say that your specific position on it is based on your constituency, or do you have a solid...
Whatever I would do would be based upon the constituency, because that's part of representing people, is you have a duty to represent those that didn't vote for you, that didn't elect you. So personally, the gun control laws we have in place in the state of Iowa have done a fairly good job of making sure that weapons don't fall into the hands of the wrong people. Especially the law-abiding gun owners, which I am one. I've gone through the training and the permitting process over the last 22 years, 24 years. I think I got my permit to carry in 1998. So every several years I have to go in and have another background check done, pay my fee for the permit, and the sheriff does a background investigation and everything. So, but the criminals aren't going to go through this process. They're going to get guns purchased on the black market out of the back trunk of some car, and criminals are going to be criminals. So, but we shouldn't restrict the rights of the law-abiding because criminals are acting illegally.
All right. Moving to the next issue. With abortion rights and the pro-life movement being at the forefront of a lot of voters' minds, what do you plan to do in the next legislative session pertaining to the issue of abortion pending your election?
Well, I know that certain Democrats want to codify Roe versus Wade on the national level to make it a national policy for terminating pregnancies. As a Roman Catholic, I support a culture of life and a culture of liberty, and I think it's sad that anyone has their life terminated in such a way. But I know there are certain circumstances where, to save the life of the mother, in cases of rape and incest, that there are people that strongly support having that option. So I wouldn't impose my personal views on anybody else. Like I said before, this is something that the constituents need to be polled on before any law is proposed.
Gotcha. All right. What do you think is a proper way to address climbing student debts and the price of higher education right now?
Well, part of the problem is that as taxpayers, the government subsidizes a lot of these loans and grants for students to attend college, and what that has done is led to a exponential increase in the cost of attending colleges and universities. If they could lower the tuition rates at these schools, that would help the students. And another thing is that, if students can shop around and find out where the best value is for their money that they're spending on their college education. But this is tied into our economy and the inflation that we're seeing. It all goes back to the fact that our currency system, our economic system, is based upon a debt-based currency, and the banks extend credit. Well, then everyone is the debtor is a slave to the lender. So college has almost become another mortgage, that it prevents people from forming a family, getting married, purchasing a home. So anything we can do to reduce the cost of college, I would be in support of.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then one final question.
Sure.
Do you have any plans to address sustainability in your perspective term?
Sustainability of
the environment.
The environment. Yeah, I mean, I'm a conservationist. I support clean air, clean water, clean living. Corporations should not be allowed to pollute our rivers and waterways the way they do. I read recently that the state of Iowa only has a little over 3 million residents, but the amount of pollution that's put into our rivers and streams from operations, for confined animal feeding operations, it's almost as if over 100 million people lived here in the state of Iowa. So, there are sustainable agricultural practices that don't do this kind of damage to our environment, and we should be supporting those and encouraging those.
Alright. Sorry, just typing.
No, you're fine.
Thank you so much for the call.
Hey, thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was wonderful to speak up there a couple of weeks ago in the Memorial Union at a town hall. So,
Yes, that was awesome.
and
And keep an eye out in the Iowa State Daily. We might have these candidate profiles coming out right before election time now that voting is coming up fast.
yeah, they start today, I think. The early voting, absentee ballot voting starts today. So, but
So luck in your campaign and with what's left of it.
oh yeah, thank you so much. I went to public television this morning, public broadcasting system, to advocate for including all the ballot certified candidates in any debates or forums that they host, and in Iowa press interviews that they do. So this is the 5th time I've run, and I've never been afforded an equal opportunity to participate in the debates and public forums. And by keeping me out of the debates, they're keeping you out of the debates too. So we shouldn't be excluding candidates if we want to have our democratic republic.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much, Stacia. You have a great day, and I hope you have a successful semester. When do you get to graduate?
I'm a sophomore right now, so I still got 2 years.
Okay. What do you mind if I ask what you're studying up there?
Yeah, so I'm a political science and journalism double major. So
Oh, that's
kind of thing with this article.
hey, that's wonderful. That's so great. The world needs more great reporters like you're doing here, and asking these candidates the tough questions. And maybe someday you can run for office. That would be wonderful. When you run for office, it sort of multiplies the political power that you have, and the way you can sort of influence the public discourse. So,
Yes. Well, thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.
all right, thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.